Let's see who's gonna join today. Someone already joined. Good morning, everyone. Good morning from New York. I'm just gonna wait a little bit for people to join, so we can have a nice little session of question and answer. It's morning in New York, 10 a.m. But for you joining in Europe, good afternoon. And for you joining in Asia, good evening. It's nice to see so many people already joining. So I hope we'll have a great session. There's definitely been a lot of questions that are prepared from all your comments. So that's been awesome. Really nice questions. And just for you to know, you can join this live stream, as some of you already are, on my personal Instagram, but also on Troels and Ina's fan page. So in the future, we will try and do a little bit more online content, both on my personal and on the Troels and Ina. And I decided to do this kind of online content more now, just because I've had the time to spend more time on the internet and to actually use the social medias in a different way. I always felt that I had a little bit of a difficulty actually making the most of benefits of the online social media. So, but since we've had more time at home now, I've actually used it a lot for research and for to gather information, to keep myself motivated and inspired. So that's what I found out, that it actually gives me a lot for all those people who do live streams, to do online content, and just give and share in this difficult time is what actually inspired me to do this as well. Some people invited me and Ina to do some interviews, and that's why I felt that it was nice to communicate with friends over the interviews, first of all, and I felt the response from all of those people looking at it as well. That I actually felt this need to share a little bit more and get out there and just make everyone feel that even though we are isolated and it's difficult times around the world, that we are still together and we can still have a good time and benefit and connect in a different way. So in some way, what people also has criticized of the social media in terms of they disconnect people, I actually think that in this case, it does the complete opposite. It really connects people, and if we use it in the best way possible, we can really connect with each other and share. So that's why I decided to do this. Now, I can see that there's a little bit of trouble getting live on Facebook, but I am online on Instagram. So I hope maybe Facebook will connect a little bit later, but for now, we do the Instagram ones. So, as I said, there's been quite a lot of amazing questions put on my page. Some funny ones, some interesting ones, some challenging ones. It's really awesome for you, that all those creative questions that you come up with. And it makes me think, and I take this very serious because you put your time into coming up with these questions. You're interested, so it's also important for me that I actually give it a little bit of thought, how I want to answer those things. But I also like the fact that you come up with some questions already live, and I'll try my best to keep up with that as I'm answering my questions as well. And pick up a few questions, but I'll do this that some of the questions I'll just kind of take the overall to see, okay, what's the point in the questions, and see, okay, this is what I want to answer. But otherwise, I will just read out how they came, and we just take it as it comes, and then let's have some fun and share a little bit. Okay, hi to everyone. I can see there's a lot of people. Some from Portugal, Ukraine. It's great. thanks everyone. It's amazing that you join, and yeah, let's kick it off. So one of the questions is actually straight up the bat. It's regarding teaching and regarding receiving information. So it's both in terms of a student when you go to lessons and you receive a certain information, and then you maybe go to a different teacher and you receive information that's contradicting or not necessarily the same information as the first information you got from the teacher. So how do you as a student deal with contradictive information? And I think this, in some way, Ina and I made a decision very early in our career that we only had very few teachers. So literally for the first 5-6 years, I think we had 2-3 teachers on our team. And anytime we went out to get information, we went back and decided not what's right and wrong, but what would benefit us the best. So what I think is important as well is to go to those teachers, and whenever you receive the information, make sure for your own self that you understand it. Ask why, not to challenge the teacher, but ask why for your own satisfaction of, oh, if I do this, it will benefit me A, B, C, or it will give me A, B, C, D. I will be able to do those things, or I can develop it into this. But ask the teacher with respect and with your interest in learning this tool to the best way possible to get that information. That way, if you go to another teacher and it's different, you don't have to challenge it. You don't even have to necessarily question it in that moment. You will have to just receive it as a sponge. That's the thing that Ina and I always did. Whenever we went to lessons, we are like sponges. We want to learn everything. When we then come back to the studio, we have to adapt the information that we receive into our style of dancing. And then when we go back to the teachers again, we even share our process. So I think it's important to have this kind of team around you, and whoever you choose to work with, that you trust in them and you're honest. And also in connection to that question is also when your students then ask you, oh, but this and this teacher taught me differently. I was taught this and this in the past. I think that it's also important for you to explain why you teach it this way. So if you choose my version, this is what I think you will benefit. This is why I've chosen to teach this and this and this. Now, me as a teacher personally, I don't want to put necessarily my style onto the students, but naturally, I of course teach what I have learned myself. So I teach from my experience. That's the only way you can teach really good, I think, is if you've taken the information and you understand it and you teach from what your values are. So in that way, I will always give the information to the student, and then from there on, I hope in some way also given information, I would also teach the student to learn how to choose their own information and develop that. So I hope that answered that question. This was a little bit longer. Some will be longer, some will be shorter, but this was definitely a little bit longer. Quick one, very different. What is the tattoo you have and why do you have it? I have a tattoo. I can't show it right today because I'm wearing a long sleeve, but I have a tattoo on my right arm, and I got this when I turned 25, and it's a tattoo I've been thinking about getting for many years before that. But it literally means love is my religion, and it has different religions around, and then it has heart and some symbols around, and it's literally because for me, I respect everything that makes a person strong. If it's religion, if it's family, if it's whatever it is that makes you strong. And I think there's a lot of religion and spirituality around here, around the world. So I think it's important to show that respect and to understand that we are all different, and each person has to collect strength from whatever they believe in. And my main point is that as long as it's based on love and care, love is my religion. So that's how that's what it is, and that's why I chose to believe in it, because I think it's important just to connect that we are loving and creative beings, and we always have to see the best in people, and love is the number one thing. In connection to that question as well, it asks if Ina has any tattoos. Not that I know of. I don't think so. But you can maybe ask her on her next live session as well. She maybe have some hidden somewhere, I don't know. But not that I know of. So another one is, actually a very good one, is how to deal with anxiety. And overcome anxiety attacks before performances. And this one particular from Alex, and she said, sorry for the silly question. And Alex, this is not a silly question at all. On all levels, we deal with anxiety on one way or another, and it comes very much in waves, I think. Anxiety is not a bad thing necessarily, because it means also that you care and that you really have put yourself into this. Now, I know of successful performers, both in dancing and in acting and in singing, that deal with anxiety on a daily basis. And I think it's a very healthy question, because I think it's something that, as I say, many people deal with. So, and it takes time to understand what triggers that anxiety, and it's individual from person to person. But my personal thing is that I really have to first of all accept the anxiety and reconnect to that, whatever it triggers. I think that the degree of anxiety to stress to nerves and so on, of course, depends as well. So an anxiety, a panic attack makes you really but what you have to do as well is to define the difference between fear and danger. So fear is a common thing. Oh, I'm afraid of this, I'm afraid of this, I'm afraid of that. But what can I do? What is actually real? What is the real danger? If I'm really rational about this, what is actually gonna harm me? And what am I in control over? So you can have okay, all these thoughts are happening in here, but the physicality of me actually doing it is happening here. And especially find some kind of point in your body. For me, it's very much my core, that I really just connect to and breathe into in order to feel that strength. And that's where meditation for me also very much helped. I use meditation and self-hypnosis more or less every morning. And actually that's one of the things as well, that this situation helps me to reconnect to some of those tools that I can use in my daily basis whenever I go practice or perform. But regarding the anxiety, I think it's important for you to reconnect to yourself and trust that all the work that you have done you will be able to put that on the performance. And then the experience of doing that again and again and again will create a certain confidence. But don't expect that you won't be nervous, that you won't be stressed, because that just means that you really care. And that I think we all are, and we need, that's part of why we do it as well, to get that boost and say, wow, can I do this? Can I do it? Yes, I did it. And that's just a driver, and that's, you have to work with it rather than work against it. I hope that's answer as well. Let me see, there's so many great answers. Let's keep it a little bit serious and then a little bit lighter. And so what kind of music inspires me? Now, I love all kind of music, to be fair. I listen to authentic Latin music. I listen to classical music. I listen to electronic music. I listen to folk music, Danish music, everything literally that just has a flavor, I would say, that speaks to me. So it's very much whenever I listen to some kind of music, it's the vibe, it's the flavor, it's the atmosphere that inspires me. And then naturally, I especially these days with Spotify and so on, I just save them. And then of course, whatever I will come back to and keep listening. And often because we have to do a lot of shows, I save a lot of music, and some of them we will use for shows, and some of them we will just keep for later. I'll just use it for inspiration, as you exactly say. But I don't have a particular genre that I use. I don't listen to a lot of heavy metal. That's probably the one that I don't do. But apart from that, I actually listen to quite a lot of different music. And I don't know if you know it, but also I like mixing music, not create my own music, but whenever we do shows, I do like to sit and play with the different sounds, also because I think that trains my ear, and also it makes me know the song and all the different sounds even better, so we can use that in the shows as well. So let's go for another one. What is my point of view of the dancing in the 90s? So 90s dancing, and I guess that this question, it relates to Latin dancing, which of course, for me and my generation, the 90s is what we kind of, where we came in and got inspired the first, because growing up in that age. Now me personally, I started quite late with competitive dancing. I was around 14, 15 really before I started competing, and through that also got access and knowledge to all the great dances, and obviously in the 90s it was Donnie and Gaina, it was Brian and Karen, Alan and Carmen, it was Yuka and Siapa, it was all those great dancers in the professionals, the finals, Paul and that time Inga and Hannah and so all these great dancers were what I watched on tape. But just as much, a strong amateur field was created back then as well. And I if I just talk about the values in the dances back then, I think that was the generation that really benefited from the understanding and the depth and the creation of fundamentals. And it hit quite a nice balance between developed fundamentals, but based on partnering in music in a very pure form. So it was very original. And that's what I like. That's when I look at it, that's what I get inspired about. It's very simple concepts that's been studied and understood and developed. And through that as well, I felt there was a lot of room for personality. And that's what I definitely would like to challenge myself. And that's maybe also in connection to if I related to a different question, was also how have I seen the dance evolve and where would I like it to go? So first of all, I think that if we compare from the 90s to today, there's been created much more speed, much more understanding of body mechanics, so you're able to create much more efficient power. You'll be able to execute much more smart and clever choreographies. So there's a lot more knowledge and we are much more capable of that. But I must say that I feel that there's a lot of width in broadness in our dancing, in terms of we can cover a lot of areas, but sometimes I'll miss a little bit of depth. So because back in the 90s there was maybe not that many areas, people just kept digging deeper to understand it. Now there's so many different areas that we can get into, so I think it's more difficult to really hold on to or choose which of those areas you want to dig into and own. So, and again, how would I like the dancing to change or evolve? Well, I'm lucky that I'm on the dance floor right now. So I'm actually able to somehow shape or try to inspire people through my own actions and through my own development in the choices that I make. So me and Nina is very aware of what kind of dancing that we like to first of all perform and live, but also what kind of direction what would we like to master. What kind of elements would we really like to understand and master? And through that, by putting those choices and those skills onto the floor, is actually how you shape it the most. We've had great champions in the past, which has shaped and developed the dancing in very different directions. And they did that because they chose what they liked and what they was fascinated about and what they loved, and they took it to another level by understanding it, by delivering, studying it, and delivering it. So that's what I think is for me and Nina, is to in some way bring back some of those qualities in terms of partnering and music and depth of the Latin fundamentals, but also put our own flair to it, that it's the same ingredients can be expressed in different ways. So, but definitely musicality, partnering, and in some way also, let me lead it to the next question, which is what is important for me as a male dancer, and what is important for me as to see in a male dancer. And I think that's one of the things that I would like to see, and that's my maybe vision in dance as well, to change a little bit, is that if I watch a movie or if I see someone successful on the street, one thing is to be very powerful and charismatic and be in a kind of entering the room with a certain energy is very appealing. But the second that he has a woman beside her and you can acknowledge how he doesn't lower the personality, doesn't lower the charisma, but he redirects it to show off his lady, to open the door, to carry the coat, to make sure that she's not cold, to make sure that she shines with each other, and acknowledge that by being beside a woman also make the man shine more if he takes care of it, take care of that responsibility, I mean. So that's one of the things that I enjoy very much in a partnership, is actually that man and woman interaction. And it's also my responsibility to challenge that and bring that onto the dance floor as I see it. So yes, men are masculine, men are strong, men are charismatic, men are powerful, responsible, all those things, yes. But men are also caring. Men are also vulnerable. Men are also loving. Men, all those things, men are also. And I think that's that's an element that dancing could benefit for as well. That contrast between the two is what makes dancing interesting. The contrast between light and shadow, between quick and slow, between soft and hard, between powerful and caring and ignorant even, is a play. Again, when we get to the dancing, it's the playfulness and the liberty to test certain things that makes it interesting, and for an artist to constantly develop and write the new page of your art every day. So that's definitely, I think, something that dancers should, and I'm talking for myself as well, because that's the beauty and the privilege of this, is actually of me being a dancer right now, having the privilege to express and to live this moment as a dancer and as a person and being that I am right now. So I hope that answered what I would like to see in a male dancer, because that's definitely how I vision it myself. So when we talk about art, there's another great question, is how does one switch back and forward between attention to the physicality in dance and the artistry? Now, there's different ways of answering this question, because I think there's a physical element in it, in terms of I use my body to dance. My body is my tool, my body is my vehicle, my body is my channel of expression. and my artistry is the energy flowing within that I have to use my body to express. So in that way, the physical element of that part is that I need to take care of my body. I need to develop my body. I need to constantly challenge my body to be able to express whatever I feel, whatever I vision, whatever I imagine, whatever I have of art and creativity inside. My body has to be able to produce and create that whenever I'm doing it. So in that sense, the element between switching between physical and artistic, I think is very close, because they're very close related. I need the physical body to express my creativity. Yeah, I can just see there's so many friends texting now as well. Kinga from Poland, mwah, miss you. Slava, Canada. There's so many people here, and of course my lovely Ina is here as well. So it's so nice to see that friends, and that's exactly what I started. Maybe you or not everybody will see. The reason why I do this is because I realized myself how much this kind of live content and online content actually connects people, and it gives a lot to receive that greetings and information online. So I think that's amazing. Hi to Shanghai as well. To get back to the question again about physicality and art, then I think I hope I answered that quite okay. The challenge, of course, is how the art and the competition is merged, because the second as we put out that number on our back, the second we enter the competition and go, of course we are competitors. But it's to not again focus on the competition itself, but to focus on the tools that you have built up throughout your career. The tools based on the priorities that you have made throughout the practices. And now the competition is literally just to put yourself out there and say, here is my tools to challenge yourself. How do I do that in a competitive environment? And to let the judges measure me up. How does this stand against my own competitors? So I think, again, you have to use the competitive element to motivate yourself, to keep getting better, to keep, whenever I do perform, people will get inspired by me. Whenever I perform, I'm able to produce the level of dancing that I expect and I imagine from my own self. That's for me is competition. And once I put myself on the competition floor, competition is the name of the game. I have to work within the setup, the rules, the frame of that competition. And what it gives me of a great pleasure is the interaction with the other competitors and with the audience. And that when it's not a set environment as a stage might be, there's much more bigger chance for things to happen that you can catch on to. Again, when we practice, I feel that we tend to use music that we like and inspire us. When we go on a competition floor, we don't know. We don't know the flavor of the songs. We don't know the length. We don't know the type of song. So we have to improvise, and constantly work off that. And that's what I personally love about competition. So yeah, let's just have a few other questions. Again, when I do this, I'm just doing it to share my thoughts. So I don't know how long I will be doing this, if it will continue for another 10, 15 minutes, whatever. I just do a little bit of questions, and I really appreciate all of you there just listening, because I'm just talking because I like it, you know. Anyways, now there's been quite a few questions on how to stay together in a partnership as long as Ina and I have, and also how to deal with conflicts and frustrations. Just trying to find the actual question. Let me just see. So, I can't find it right now. But anyway, the actual question was, me and Ina have been dancing together for 14 years. And we, of course, we started when we were 17, 18, and we grew up together. So through that, of course, you need to adapt and learn how to communicate with that other being. Now, it was actually fun as well to receive some of these questions, because of course you reconnect with people that you have met during your career. And one of those is Elsa. And Elsa used to dance and still performs around the world, but she used to come to Denmark a few times, where Ina and I grew up. So and she remembers, and I'm just gonna read it up how she wrote it on my comments. She said, "I remember my very first group practice together with you guys like 13 years ago in Aarhus, just before Blackpool. We were gonna do 5 dance final rounds over and over again, and once everybody was finished and so tired, wanted to leave, but you two just went to the other side of the dance floor, took 2 chairs, sat down and started to make a discussion with each other just by pointing out the good thing in each other first." She says she was 16 back then and it made a big impression. So I'm happy that again, you lead by your action. You make an example by your action. We weren't, of course, trying to make an example, but we were trying to do what was best for our dancing back then. She says, "We always seemed like incredible, mature and intelligent dancers, and I cherish the moment forever. It had a huge reminder to myself whenever I felt less in control of my action over my words." So this is, of course, the biggest compliment a dancer could get, is that you inspired other people, other dancers in their own experience, struggle and journey. Now her question was, who taught us these amazing skills, and do we still practice them? So first of all, thank you very much for this question, Elsa. I hope to see you soon, and I hope you're safe. Now, the skills, of course, is based very much on many different things. First of all, maybe your upbringing in terms of your parents. What did they teach you? Your teachers itself, your Latin teachers, what kind of qualities, what kind of energy, what kind of personality do they bring onto it? And third of all, how do you actually communicate? How open are you to learn from your partner? And of course, I think we were very lucky as well that we started rather young together. 17 and 18, we weren't really shaped in our own personalities and values that much yet. So even though we came in and said, "This is what I want, this is strong, this is da-da-da-da-da," we were very open to listening to each other and listening to our teachers in guiding us towards making our dancing better. And that's number one thing. We made a clear commitment, Ina and I, that dancing is number one. So yes, we did fight. Yes, we did have to compromise. Yes, we did have to overcome a lot of differences in our partnership. But it was actually by sitting down and talking about it and being open, and also being open towards criticism, as much as support and love from each other, that's what made us connect and build these tools. But of course, there's great people out there who works, there's great information that you can use in order to build those. But the most important thing is how you approach that information, and to know that you need your partner the most in this dance world. The partner is what brings you up. Without your partner, you can't succeed. Without your partner, you won't be able to go on that floor. And the stronger you can make that bond with your partner, the better for sure. Because that's just gonna make stronger and stronger. And you it will be satisfying for you, but it will always, it will also be felt from your competitors outside, because that bond is the two of you against the world. So those things that we practice is like layers. I often compare dancing and life to a lasagna. You have to put each layer and put love into each layer, and in the end the dish will come out. And one of those communication tools is definitely a layer that we need to prioritize. Now, if we still practice it, yes, we do still practice it, but of course it's become second nature in some way. But every time you can't come under pressure, you need to practice it and you need to acknowledge how you then react. So Ina and I, a few years ago, we acknowledged that, of course, whenever we are under pressure, for instance with jet lag and we have to perform, we get more stressed and we can get at each other in a different way. Once we realized that, we actually pulled back and we said it somewhere. If there's an elephant in the room, it won't disappear by ignoring it. Actually, it will get worse. So we literally just put it on the table. Listen up, we are obviously going at each other. It's nothing personal, but we are both tired, we're both stressed, we're both jet lagged, emotional. Now, let's just practice on something that we won't discuss, or we won't even just shut up, let's practice. So again, we put the practicing first, because by us saying, oh, we have a bad day, or you're wrong, I'm right, I'm wrong, you're right, will not make us improve, will not make us continue to practice. And that was the number one thing that Ina and I said, never leave a practice. I think we've left the practice once or twice in our 14 years together. But apart from that, we actually just stay. Maybe we just shut up and we annoyed at each other, but we keep practicing because that's the only way to improve. People asking what city I am in now. I am in New York, where I live. Both Ina and I live in New York. I live here with my girlfriend and my dog. And Ina just lives 10 minutes from here, so we still get to see each other. We still go on walks and so on, even though there is the lockdown. So that's nice that we get to of course still hang out and benefit of each other's thoughts and process in this moment. So okay, let's just have a few more, and then we can maybe continue from another day. So. If we talk about competition, there's one question. During competition, would I rather stay alone or speak with others? And how do I focus before a performance? So this is very much individual. Of course, how you deal with competition and what is best for you. But what I also realized myself is that it changes throughout a career, and it changes even from comp to comp. So in that way, I don't have a preset idea how I'm gonna be on this particular comp. I very much sense, okay, today I have a need to get out there, connect with people, talk with people, get a little bit away from the comp mentally, go around the room, smell the room, sense the room, connect, and just let myself loose in some way. Other times I just wanna put my headphones on, zone in, focus, and just whenever the first time I go on that floor is to compete and to be on. And both approaches works. And I that's why that's the kind of the two that I swap around. I do like to have my own base with Ina. This is our space. This is where we get in and out. So in some way in that room, I will be by myself. But from there, I go out and I connect if I need to it. And also, I think it's nice to benefit from each other's for the energies around, if you feel the energy is right for you. So each room, each competition has different people, different competitors, different energy, and it's up to you to decide on that day, is that the energy that I need right now? Each comp also makes it easier or difficult to connect via that. For instance, a comp like Blackpool, it's very easy because there's constantly people walking through the changing room. It's a big room, you can always go in and out of the floor. Where a comp like International, the audience is upstairs, isolated from us down in the dungeon, changing, and then you just enter up for each dance. So often actually I would go against it in some way. In Blackpool, I would try and be a little bit more by myself because the room can be so overwhelming and there's always people. So there I kind of stay by myself and go out. Where International, you're naturally put by yourself. So there I maybe want to connect a little bit and feel the room, to not feel it so foreign when I go on the floor. So that's definitely changes very much from time to time, and I think that's the key, to stay in tune with yourself, what you need. There's just if we talk about the current situation as well, about the corona and how it affects our lives today, it's more of a kind of a motivational. If this situation continues for long, how will I continue to motivate myself and others to practice, stay fit, and keep passion? That's also a very good question, because it is difficult once you don't necessarily have a set next target, or you have a goal. Okay, this is where I have to, external goal, this is where I have to be ready for it. So in that way, I think it's very important to, and again, this is very individual as well, from personality and character. So it doesn't work for everyone. Some people just have to quickly switch and set a new goal. Some people can retrieve a little bit and connect with, okay, what do I then want to feel and spend the time on? Now, I think it's important for me is the balance between the two. So I do have a kind of a set daily ritual with my workouts, with my meditation, calling people that I love and care and miss, and hanging out with my girlfriend and my dog as well, just getting some normality. But apart from that, I also really spend this time to investigate, to collect new information, to reconnect with certain things that I've, through the go, maybe have neglected and forgotten, and not as necessarily as in touch with as I would like to be. So it's difficult to say how you're going to react if this continues until, let's say, 2021 in this form. But I do believe that each dancer just have to really sense what they love. Because in the end of the day, what this situation has done is ripped us or made distance from what we love doing in our everyday and ourselves. So we have to either bring the love to where we are, or find new ways to reconnect to those elements that we love. So that's definitely, keep yourself active, find ways to stay fit and active. And my advice as well, don't watch the news too much, because that's going to be a lot of, stay updated, know what's happening in the world, and know what the government, your local government, tells you to do in terms of restrictions and advice. But apart from that, focus on your own well-being, and use this as an opportunity, because I really think it is. I never did live streams before this, but now I do. So that's definitely a way for me to connect as well. Now let's just do a last one, and then I think we're gonna wrap it up. And that's actually from I hope I pronounce it right, Naita. Yeah, that's it's one that posted on my comments, and it's, since when did I start saying that I'm a dancer, and when is a dancer a dancer? So I had to think about this a little bit. When did I start calling myself a dancer? Because just because I go to dance classes, I'm not necessarily a dancer. Or am I? Because I do think that the second that we enter a dance studio and allow ourselves to let go and be dancing, we are dancers. And I think it's not to necessarily categorize ourselves, at least not myself. I am Troels, and I'm from Denmark, and I live in New York, and I love dancing, and I spend a lot of time dancing, and I have the privilege to keep dancing and expressing my art through dance, and also live from dancing. Now that's probably what makes me, that categorizes me in other people's vision as a dancer. Now I'm a human being, and I love to dance, and every day I don't wake up and think myself, oh, I'm a dancer, oh, I'm a dancer. No, I'm just naturally drawn to the expression form and the lifestyle and the being a dancer, whatever that activity is. But apart from that, I don't really know how you categorize dancers in that sense, unless they feel like a dancer themselves. And whoever wanna categorize themselves as a dancer has the right to do that. But what I feel, and you should also allow yourself, even if she asked, is it your passion, is it the fact that you earn money from it, or is it your technical level that defines you? And none of that defines if you're a dancer. A lot of dancers are not able to earn money in the beginning, but they still practice hard and they still commit their life to dancing. A lot of people has not reached the technical level compared to the top competitors, but they're still dancers, they're still working on this skill. And a lot of people has two passions. One is dancing and one is another. So being a dancer is really up to yourself, how you own it and how you define yourself. And I didn't make a decision, oh, now I'm a dancer. I slowly evolved into feeling and becoming the dancer I am today. And that's only one part of me that is the dancer. I am a lot of other things as well. So it's a little bit like I'm wearing this hat today, that's my dancer hat. But I have a lot of other hats as well that I'm carrying underneath this one all the time, which is being a little brother for my family, being a son for my mom, being a boyfriend for my girlfriend, a lot of being a friend, being whatever I am all of those things as well as being a dancer. So guys, I can see it's already been 45 minutes and time literally flies away. I would love to continue a little bit more, but I also think it's important to save something for later and let those things kind of sink in, because at least for myself, I'm a person who kind of like to taste the thing and then what do I like about that? So it's not only I like it, I don't like it, but also to understand what makes me like these things. And the same thing with questions and all this live stream and so on. I think it's important, whatever I hopefully have given to you, and that you take it the way that you feel is best for you. And the same for me, all those questions have started a lot of processes. And I would like to take my time to actually just digest it a little bit. And then we will do some of these questions again. I will save the questions that I didn't manage to do, and I will try and answer some of them on my profile as well. And then we will do some more live streaming in the coming weeks. Even if the situation stops, I'm hooked on these things. So I would love to do it. Now, I've also spoken with a lot of colleagues and friends around the world, and I will try and reconnect both with, of course, me and Ina will probably do some live streams as well. I will connect with, I can see Slava as well is here. He's done some amazing interviews. So we will try and hook up with that as well. I will post the times where we'll do that. He has some interesting artistic, challenging questions, so I'm excited for that. And then also, I want to connect with some of my colleagues and friends around the world and do some one-on-one sessions with that. I'm actually going to kick that off with one of my closest friends in this industry. We have had the privilege to compete against each other literally from under 21 and throughout our amateur days and professional days as well. So he's a great friend of mine, true friend, and a great competitor. I have a lot of respect for him as a dancer as well. So Kirill is going to join me, or I'm going to join him in a small talk, evening with, whatever you want to call it. It will be tomorrow at 10 o'clock Moscow time. That's the instruction he gave me. So I'll put on a post after this, and then you can link up to that as well if you feel for joining another conversation. And please, if you have any questions for me or Kirill, both of us, or would like to just hear some stories or whatever, please comment on that as well, because then we can prepare some funny moments together. Okay? Guys, it was a pleasure. I had fun. I was a little bit nervous doing this for the first time, but I felt I eased into it, and I'm so happy and so thankful for all the people that was watching, and I really hope that we're gonna see each other again. So take care, stay safe, and I love you all. See you soon, guys.